It's the Playhouse Podcast with Kat and JJ.
Believe it. I missed everything.
Missed the show?
What am I going to do?
Check out the Daily Podcast.
Found out earlier this morning that one little thing can push Kat into Karen mode. And we had a lot of other people chiming in that there's just one thing that will make them snap and go full Karen. If you missed it, you're going to want to hear this coming up in the podcast in a couple seconds. Let's go.
So, I'm a huge fan of Vanderpump Rules. The new season is coming out soon, and Tom Schwartz is one of the characters on there. And Tom Sandoval is coming to perform at a casino near us very soon.
Perform what? What does the guy do?
He's a singer, and he has a band, and so he tours. But Tom Schwartz is one of his best friends, and he has family in Minnesota. And so I was like, okay, this text was pretty legit. And I'm not going to say her name. Last four digits, 1172. But she said that she goes, I know you're a huge fan. Did you see that he's coming with his band? I said, yes. She goes, you want to know something? I made out with Tom Schwartz back in 2007. And I said, wow.
So 18 years ago?
So he's kind of like a C-list celebrity, but Vanderpump Rules is one of the highest rated reality shows on television.
On Kat's TV.
So I was like, all right, that could bump him up to like a B-, I guess. He's been in some drama in the reality TV world. So I wanted to know, could we beat Tom Schwartz as somebody that you've made out with?
I wouldn't know this guy if he hit me with his car.
Really? Have you ever made out with anyone famous or notable?
Not even close. Though, I was
infamous?
Married. Otherwise, I really would have took a shot at Christina Milian. We had her in studio, but it was like staring into the sun. Like, yes. I couldn't look away. Like,
I know.
I only imagine, like, if you open the Ark of the Covenant and you get to look at the 10 Commandments, that it would hit you with that kind of power. Like, she knew it, too. I mean, she knew she was the hottest on the block.
I've been in studio with her. She walked in, but she smelled so good. As a woman, I would have gone after it, too.
Yeah.
She had on one of those white tank tops with the Tommy Hilfiger bibs. And I was like, oh, my God, this chick's got it going on. So I get it. I get the appeal.
I'd have got her pregnant.
But who is the most famous person that you've made out with or even gone for?
Aspen, you lock lips with somebody pretty famous?
Yeah, I mean, I think he is. I don't know if you guys know who it is. Probably, if you keep up with celebrity drama.
I got my Google up. Go.
Maud's son.
You have not made out with Maud's son. When and where was that?
It was like a decade ago. It was before he blew up. It was like when he was still just playing local shows in Minnesota. It was before like anything even took off with him. But yeah, after one of his shows, he was like hanging out after the set, and we started chatting, and then we ended up kissing. But I was like still like shy and naive, like I was just starting to come out of my bubble. So like it was just like a very like quick kiss, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. And then like I ran to my friends.
You, David, he looks stinky. Did he stink a little bit?
He smelled like a lot of weed.
Yeah. I feel like he'd smell like throw up and cigarettes, but he is from Bloomington, so I believe you.
And how good of a kisser was he?
A lot of green. We didn't like full on like make out, but like it wasn't like he was like too much lip or anything like that, too much tongue, nothing like that, but
yeah.
Nothing really notable either, though, unfortunately.
Did you guys exchange numbers or anything? Like, was there a chance you were going to hook up later? Or was it you were just like, oh, my God, I kissed him. I got to go.
Basically, I was a very, like, sheltered kid. It was, like, right when I turned, like, 18. So, like, I was, like, very, like, naive and very, like, oh, my gosh, like, giddy about it. So nothing really came of it.
Yeah.
And you've held on to this story long enough to tell it on the radio 10 years later and giggle.
I kick myself for it. I'm like, damn, like, what the heck? Now, especially when he blew up, I was like, no way.
I could be Mrs. Dodson.
He was with Avril Lavigne for a while.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So you.
I think,
so it's like 1 degree of
You're 1
separation.
degree of separation from Avril Lavigne.
You basically made out with Avril Lavigne.
Oh, I wish.
Whoa.
Oh.
This is getting
well,
good.
You know what? I think you're up here.
I think she's the leader in the clubhouse right now.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so Aspen made out with Modson. She's the leader in the clubhouse. Who could do better? Aspen, have a great morning. Thanks for helping us out.
Thanks. You too.
Have a great day.
I just got a message on my Facebook saying that we shouldn't be talking about this because most celebrities value their privacy and
I don't care.
we shouldn't have this conversation.
Who messages you that?
This I'm not going to show you
Just
her
show
name.
me. I won't say it. I won't
Do
say it.
not say her name.
Just say, let me see it.
Okay.
Oh, get the hell out of here. Just get the hell out of here with that. You know what? Get your own show and then don't talk about celebrities.
Listen, I get where her heart is at, you know.
I don't.
But you're telling me if you made out with somebody that was famous or on the news.
You should expect them to talk about it.
Right.
And
Unless you sign an NDA.
And if you're married, then don't do that.
Yeah.
This is not whatever. Out of all the celebrities you've been around, if you had to push up on one of them that you've been close enough to and they might have kissed you, who would have it been?
Probably Donnie Wahlberg. He just had it. You know, he had this. He walked in and owned that room. But like in such a nice, he was so kind and so cool. Joey, nice guy, very, very short, way shorter than me. Josh Hartnett. I have that picture that I post and I'm like, oh, happy birthday to my ex-boyfriend. And people actually believe it because we're kind of like holding each other like we're together. But he had the height, you know, back then I liked the height.
This was 25 years ago. Oh my God. But I was working country radio at the time. And we were hosting a huge concert with Martina McBride. Mm-hmm. And so I was doing afternoon drive on that radio station. I urged all of our listeners to make big signs that said, Martina, marry JJ.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people did.
Wow.
And so we're doing the backstage thing after the show, right? Everybody's unwinding. And I introduce myself and she sees the little tag I've got on. And she goes, oh, you're the one I'm supposed to marry.
Yeah.
And I was.
Were you married at this time?
I think I was. Yeah. It was just a joke, right? It was tongue in cheek. And she goes, well, it's a good thing for you that I'm married then. And I was like, I don't know how to take that. Because she was at really the kind of the peak of her career.
Yeah.
She had a couple of really, really big songs on the radio, but she was like 5'0". Great. And not a lot of chicks look great in short hair.
Yeah.
But she looked really, really amazing. And I was like, if I was single, I'd have made a move. Her husband probably would have shot me in the back of the head.
But you didn't lock lips.
But I would have taken a shot at it.
Hey.
All right. So the question is, who's the most famous celebrity you've made out with? So far, the leader is Aspen, who made out with Modson.
If Sunny calls, Sunny will be the leader.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't call, we'll tell you who she made out with.
I see the text.
Or
That's
who
not
her friend. Her friend, sorry.
Her friend allegedly made out with some big celebrity who you know. But Jervon, who do we make out with?
You know, I've been keeping this a secret for like a long time, but nah, I shouldn't say. Okay, I'm gonna say. It was Charlie D'Amelio when I was in a press conference, and yeah, we just made eye contact, and we had that little spark that I guess you see like in movies sometimes. And she came over and she slipped down like a little note on top of a napkin, and then the rest is kind of like history. I don't want to kiss and tell, but
So she was the one that instigated. Do you know who Charlie?
I have no idea who this person is.
Charlie D'Amelio. She's the like TikTok dancer, made like millions and millions and millions like during the pandemic.
So I've probably seen her. I just don't know who it is.
Yeah, and they have their own. Her family has their own reality show.
Okay,
like D'Amelio, whatever it is. So you made out with Charlie D'Amelio in Chicago. How many years ago was this?
I think it was about 4 years ago now.
Yeah, right on. 4 years ago, you swapped with Charlie D'Amelio. All right, I got to look this chick up, but kudos,
Okay.
man. I guess it's a moment of pride.
No, my friends would kill me, so don't tell anyone.
Yeah, we won't tell anyone at all. So would you say that's the leader in the clubhouse now?
She's a big name.
Okay.
Millions and millions she's made. So
now, I think we've got a winner. Sonny, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, right.
I'm good. How are you?
We're really good. You're going to blow the lid off this whole thing. This wasn't you, but you have a friend who made out with
Teddy Swims.
that's a big one. Now you got to tell us where and when, because he hasn't been huge for a long time.
a year.
So was this like pre-fame?
No, I don't think so. So long story, it's like a very long story, but long story short, she studied abroad and she got really sick, and that's when she started listening to Teddy Swims. And then she went to a concert when he was in Minneapolis a few years ago.
Okay.
And she went by herself. And she didn't have VIP tickets or anything, but she was like, I'm by myself and I'm determined to go meet this guy. So she like talks to the bodyguards or whatever and like just continued to beg to like go meet this guy. So then she did meet him, and she told him the whole story, and then they swapped phone numbers, and she made him a little gift.
From her own hair?
Here's a hair doll.
Yeah, no. She found out his favorite candy and made him like this little gift, and there was a note in there that said, if you know his songs, she said, P.S. I would kiss every tattoo on your face.
Uh-huh.
And so then he ended up, she was going to see him in Canada with a friend a year ago, I believe. And he said if she paid for her ticket there, he would get her into the concert. So
what a guy.
Did get into the concert. So they did get into the concert, and then the friend went back to the...
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Sunny.
Oh, there you go. You're back. You're back. Sorry, your phone dipped out.
My
Alexa.
friend stayed... Oh.
You're good. Keep going.
Oh, sorry. But the friend that she went with went back to the place they were staying, and she stayed to hang out with Teddy and his band on the tour bus. And then they were in the back, and he had asked, like, were you serious about kissing every tattoo on my face? And she said yes. So then she kissed the tattoo on his face. And then he was like, oh, man, I wish I would have tattooed my lips. And she was
Smooth
like, why?
talker.
He
Like,
is a
"Because when
smooth
you kiss
talker."
her." So then they made out, and then she ended up going home. And I think he's gotten her into quite a few of his shows as long as she pays for her ticket to get there.
She's close to groupie status. Now, as
I
long
love
as
that he has to preface, pay for your flight here, but I will get
you
you
get
in.
here, I'll get you into the show for free, and then we'll make out.
But some hot chicks can just make that stuff happen. Like the just saying like, I'm going to get to him tonight. I will. And they can. I could not do that. They'd be like, ma'am, please go back to your seat.
But they told her multiple times, like, no, you can't come in here. You're not VIP. No, you can't come in here. And then they finally let her in.
Wow.
I'm just here to kiss all his tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when he, I don't know if you guys were at his show in Minnesota,
Uh-huh.
Oh,
if anyone was, but shouted her out the last time he was here
really?
In Minnesota.
I love that.
Yeah. When he was on the stage.
Is she kind of infatuated with this? Like, will she follow him to the ends of the earth now?
No.
Okay.
It's a long pause.
Text every once in a while.
Wow, that's
but
kind of cool.
I don't think she wouldn't go too great.
All right. Well, great
thanks for
story.
sharing.
Thanks for sharing. I think you're the leader today. Teddy Swims is the winner. Thank you, Sonny. What are you losing it about?
Just someone texted. That is the longest long story.
She was trying to get all the details in.
And those details made the story.
She's trying to get all the details in.
That's a big one.
You were probably less than an angel growing up. You pulled some stuff. Maybe your parents turned a blind eye to it. Maybe they didn't even notice it, that you were a juvenile delinquent. But then you got a little bit older, and it came back around the time for you to confess your sins to your parents. Do you remember one specific thing you bold-faced lied to them about, and then later on admitted to, Kat?
Well, it all came to a head this summer when my parents decided to do their deck in front of their house because they didn't realize how long I was a smoker. I only smoked for like maybe 5 years, started in high school, which was a huge mistake because that's where my cross-country career took a nosedive, but then smoked all through college and then like a couple of years after that. But when I was younger in high school, I would like sit crisscross applesauce on their deck so no neighbor could see me. And I would smoke out there when they were gone. And I would put the cigarettes through the cracks
floorboards
of the deck. And I'm like, they're never going to take this thing out. You know, it's a big undertaking. And then finally they redid their deck this summer. And I said, did you find a bunch of cigarette butts under there? And they were like, no, why? And I had to divulge that when I was younger.
So you didn't
Way
even
younger than they thought.
You could have avoided that whole conversation if you'd been like, "Do you see anything interesting under there?"
Yeah, but I'm in the safe zone. I haven't smoked in like 18 years. So I'm good. And then it's like that far removed from when I was 15, 16 years old.
My sophomore year, I'd come back for Christmas break and sit down, unload all my laundry. You bring back what you need. And I remember sitting down, and it was a Thursday. I'd finished my final Thursday morning. So Thursday afternoon, I get home, and my dad had just got home from work. And he sits down, and he grabs 2 beers, and he pops the top off both of them, and he pours me a glass. And I was like, wow, thanks. I appreciate this. And he's like, and we started talking. And after about 5 beers, and my dad drank Pfeiffer beer. Like it.
What is that? Is that really watered down, or is that more of an ale?
It's puke. It's absolute horse piss.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
sounds
so
delicious.
bad. But I'm sitting there, and after about like 4 or 5, my mom, she's rolling around, she's doing whatever, and she's like, "Well, Gary, you're gonna pour me a beer?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I go, "You guys, I gotta admit, since I was 16, I've been stealing warm Pfeiffers from you."
You let it fly.
And it was such a load off my chest.
Yeah.
And which is crazy because my dad was part of the intelligence community, and he knew everything that happened except that.
Yeah.
I was so coy, and there were the returnable bottles. So when my mom and dad would put, 6, 7, 8 in the fridge, and every time they would take one out of the fridge, my dad would go back and take a returnable bottle and put it in the fridge just to make sure there was always cold ones in there. So I could never steal a cold one. I always had to steal the warm ones.
Yeah.
And what we would do is we would drink it and then rinse it out real quick, because my dad would always rinse out the beer bottles, because sometimes they would sit in our walk-in closet for a week before he turned them in, and he didn't want them smelling. So my parents, that was how anal retentive he was, that he got done with a beer bottle, he'd rinse it out in the sink, let it dry, put it back in the thing. So we'd have to rinse it out and put it back. And my dad's like, "Wait, how long have you been stealing beer from me?"
You didn't even buffer the news. I would have brought a 6-pack of Pfeiffer just to say, here you go.
I was a sophomore in college. I had 48 cents to my name. There was no way I was buying him a case of beer at that point. But I thought I wanted to lob this question out, because I think we all have that moment where you're an adult. You probably got a place of your own, maybe even a family of your own, and you decided to fess up to what sin that you did earlier in life. Lori, what'd you do?
For 7 years, I told my mom I had no idea what happened to the lid to the crock pot. I have no clue where it went. So she used tinfoil forever.
Sure.
Finally, I bought her a brand new crock pot when I got old enough, and I said, "Sorry, I broke the lid to the crock pot."
Oh, that's it. But
That's so innocent.
This reminds me, didn't you have a story about your mom's wedding ring down the sink, too, and then you had to fess up about that?
I never fessed up about that.
Oh, was that in private? I thought you told the story on the air before.
No, I didn't ever tell that. And she's up. I just spoke to her.
I didn't know. I swear to God, I thought we'd talked about this on the air before. No. Well, you might as well talk about it now.
All right. It went down the drain, and then I made her feel crazy. So I was like gaslighting at 11. I was like, I haven't seen it, but you really shouldn't keep it next to the sink.
So you dumped it down the sink and then told her.
Accidentally, and it could have just unscrewed it. You know what I mean? I hadn't put water through.
Did she ever get it back?
No. So she doesn't like jewelry anyway, so I did her.
Or you did her a favor. Allison, great sin as a kid or a young adult, and then you fessed up to it. What was it?
It still comes to my mind. I was at my girlfriend's house. I told my mom I was spending the night with my girlfriend at her house.
Yep.
She told her mom she was spending the night at my house. And we went to a party, and believe it or not, it was the worst party we have ever been to, and it was the biggest regret ever.
Always. It never turns out okay.
A little laugh there at the end. My friend Johnny and I used to do this. We'd tell our parents that we were going to each other's house. And then we'd always end up coming back to my house because we could sneak in and sleep downstairs when my parents were upstairs.
Yeah.
But we would hang out. There was a street in the hometown I grew up in that had like 7 bars. 7 bars for 1,300 people. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a raging alcoholism everywhere. But we would just walk up and down the street and mess with the drunks. And most of them would give you some money.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, so we were making some mad bank off that. I got time for one more. Callie, what happened when you were a little bit younger and then you had to fess up to it?
I drank alcohol for the first time when I was 18, and I told my parents when I was 25.
There, well, see, okay, safe zone. That's exactly what Kat was saying.
Yeah.
Once you get to that safe zone, you're probably in it.
Derek, loves to unload his past in front of his parents. And then he does this like crazy laugh, like, oh, I got away with it. But he has done some
Do they get
weird
cringy
stuff.
when he does that? Can you see it in their face? They're
Well,
like,
his mom will like laugh, but in her mind, she's like, what? Like, how didn't I know this?
They start questioning your parenting.
Yeah.
You're like, wait,
Like, I
what?
thought I knew my kid.
Wednesday morning during our live show, you're going to want to bring us into work because at 8:05, we're looking to give you $50,000. You only need 5 numbers to crack the code. And if you can break open this safe, you get 50 grand at 8:05 Wednesday morning on KCLD. Right now, let's finish up the podcast. Now, if you've listened to the show for a little while, thinking that Kat could suddenly turn into a huge Karen is probably something that's never crossed your mind.
No, I'm going to tell my story, but I would love for Amy to call in because she had texted that there's one thing that could get her to the point of becoming a Karen. All right, so I'm curious as to what that is. But the other day, I keep my cool. I'm pretty even keel, wouldn't you say? Like,
yeah,
it doesn't.
I think what really helps you is you're non-confrontational. You'd rather walk away than prove your point.
There's a lot of stuff that I just see kind of the big picture. I'm like, is this worth it? No.
What's that like?
It's a good feeling.
Sounds exhausting to me.
No, it's a good feeling. But I was at a store, and I just hate when stores are not like clean, and I want to go shopping and I want to have a good experience. And I had some time before I had to get Liam from school. And so I swung into a store and I was going up and down the aisles, which I could barely do because there were just boxes and boxes that were empty and that were full. And I'm like, 1, this is a massive fire hazard. 2, I can't possibly shop, and I'm like, I don't know what these people are going through, but I did see that like 3 of them were outside smoking when I got there. And listen, I used to be a smoker. You want a smoke break? That's fine. But I don't know how many you took that day because nothing seems like it ever gets done at this specific store. I have gone in several times and it just seems like it's in disarray. And I was so close. I'm like, girl, if you say these words to somebody, it's going to get caught on camera. It's going to go out there.
What would have you said?
Y'all need to clean this up. This is crazy.
That's Karen
and
status.
I do this with my finger and I
Big
feel like,
time.
and I was just so close when she was like, did you find everything you needed? It's like, no, not really. Like half of the shelves are being blocked by boxes. And I'm sure it takes a lot of manpower to put everything away because it's a lot of stuff. But you had at least 3 people on staff that day. And you guys were all smoking
They
outside.
were in the process. They decided to take a break together. You just went in the wrong time.
I don't know. It just always looks like that, And it hasn't always. They have an ebb and flow of managers. And so you can tell which ones care a little bit more that are like, let's get this place in shape. And
I've never once walked into a store and been like, I'm not going to get what I need because you've got a box on the floor. Nor have I thought, oh, what a fire hazard.
I tripped a little bit too, and it scared me. Like I was going down one of the kitchen area
Looking
aisles.
at your phone and then you tripped over a box?
And I tripped over a box and I did one of those stumble forward twice. My heart was going like crazy. I'm like, I could have caught my teeth on the shelf.
It's very hard to look where you're going.
So
we want to know from you. Obviously, that's Kat's trigger point. If you're any kind of a retailer and you don't have your place completely clean or everything's not exactly the way she wants it, she's ready to go Karen mode on you. What trips you up? It's super Karen. But what gets you to that point? I mean, do you get really, really mad at the littlest things like you're shopping and they're restocking the shelves and they take a small break and then you freak out?
That's what I felt like the other day. And very rarely do I get to the point where I'm like hot, but there's no way you could possibly push a cart down any of the aisles that I was in at this store. And should I give them some grace? I don't know what they're going through. I don't know if too much was ordered. They have nowhere to put it. They have not enough manpower, but when I see 3 of them taking a smoke break and like the store is in disarray, I get a little puzzled. I get pushed to the brink.
I was trying to think of what actually gets me to the point of being. I mean, so what's the male Karen? Are we going? Is it Kevin?
No, I like Kevin's. I don't know, maybe a Jared.
Okay, so what makes you a Jared? So I think the only thing that's ever really got me to that point, like I'm confrontational by nature. Like I really love seeing another human's reaction. But when I'm coaching and I hear a parent criticize, and I always make it the first thing to tell all the parents at the beginning of the season. If you have something to say it to me. Don't say it to your son. Don't say it to another person because you won't get any results. I can help you get results or understanding. Right? I love when people ask questions because if I don't have the answer for you, then you should keep asking the questions. But when I hear it's the third inning and we call for a fastball up and in and I hear a dad behind me go, why would you ever make that call? Man, I get lit up. Oh.
So it does it to you.
It was just, it's not questioning my thoughts, but then just bitching about something. God, just do something about it. And so we thought, all right, well, what turns you into an instant Karen? And I'm glad Cindy could hold for us. Tell everybody, kind of what trips your trigger here.
I'm typically a very, chill person. There's not a lot that gets me, unsettled or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it has become clear to me that when there are women giving my husband too much attention, I can get a little bit intense about
territorial.
That.
Wow. Okay. That's kind of hot, though. Does he think that's hot? Does he like that?
Sometimes. It definitely gets us into trouble here and there. I've learned over the years to give him the signals more so than letting everyone in the room know how
smart.
I feel.
Yeah, good plan. Because you don't want to be known as the
Thank
wife
you.
that will come and bite your face off if you even look at your husband.
I don't know. I really would like for them to not look at my husband. So, maybe I do a little bit want to be known as that person.
You know how many days my wife has probably woke up and went, boy, I wish somebody would be attracted to my husband. You know what I mean? Be careful what you ask
Your
for
wife's
there.
a little like that, though. I think she would throw some bows for sure.
I would pay to see that. Her family she comes from a long line of people who would get physical outside of a bar.
I think she could kill somebody for sure.
Really? Take a life?
Over you, yeah.
Wow, she doesn't care that much about me. Over her kids,
when
for
you're
sure.
walking at the pool, when we're in paradise, she's like, that's my man.
She has never once said that.
She does.
That's the tequila talking. That's what it is.
That's my man.
Look at all these texts coming in. A lot of people just have a quick trigger and they become an instant Karen.
Chelsea says, as a waitress, when I'm serving a table and a person at a different table tries to interrupt me by snapping their fingers.
Listen, I've only done it.
Your
I only did it once. I did it once.
How gross.
And it was a joke. I was like, excuse me. That's what it was. It was never serious. It was a joke, and now everybody's running with it.
Well, Chelsea's Karen mode comes out instantly. Paige says, no, it is Kevin. It's not Jared. So we'll call them Kevins.
Okay.
And then Cora says, some sort of similar thing happened to my mom at Walmart. November 1st, she tripped over an empty pallet at her Walmart in Florida, got a concussion, whiplash, hand in a splint, legs completely bruised. 2 spine surgeries.
What?
Yes. What kind of fall was that? That's wild. But she says she hasn't been able to work since, and manager told her that it was completely her fault. They had left a pallet out in the open. And then 2 people guessing where I was, and I will not say where I was.
But are they right? Ish?
I don't know.
Are they close at least?
You can't say.
Okay.
What store they're saying.
The place Kat was at that she doesn't want us to mention is...
That is correct.
In an epic admission of elder abuse, Kat has grabbed all of her grandfather's memorabilia that he's been saving over the years, and she's trying to sell it now.
So this is a disgusting setup. This is not how it's going down. My grandmother said your grandfather would like to get rid of his statue collection. He has 300 plus.
How long do you think he's been collecting these things?
His whole life. He's 96.
So you think for the better part of 75 years,
Yes.
he's been collecting miniature buildings, Eiffel Towers, White Houses,
And at
Roman
one point,
Colosseums.
he was the president, and he does have a Roman Coliseum, but he was the president of
I'd be
the
interested in that.
Souvenir
How much
Society.
you getting for that?
I don't know. I told you this is going to be like a year of research because I don't want to sell something that he loved so much for nothing. I want to get him the most bang for his buck.
If he were to put prices on these, would they be exorbitant, way beyond market value? Because he's got an emotional attachment to him?
Yeah, maybe that would get in the way, but I'm going to have to do some photo shoots too.
So most of us, if we were in this situation, would say, all right, let me do my research and then I'll put maybe an ad on Facebook Marketplace or something like that. But Kat, being the brilliant radio host she is, thought, oh, hey, we could use this giant platform we're on in a nationally syndicated radio show to pimp out my grandfather's treasures so that we can make a couple of quick bucks. So this
weird when you were trying to sell your house. Don't even. You are perfect.
The house is a little bit different.
Okay.
We were in a bind. All right.
All right.
So with all this said, she threw this out yesterday. And right as we were wrapping up the show, I want to air you back the phone call we got because
I got a fish on the line.
We did get a bite.
Yeah.
This is exactly how this went down, guys.
Eiffel Tower for sale. And how big is it? How much is it?
Oh, wow. I have about 25 of them. So,
oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. How big are they?
They range in size from like 2 inches to 8 to 11. They're all over the place.
Oh.
Yeah. So what are you in the market for?
Well, how much are they, or how much are they?
So I'm going to have to do
prices.
some research. Can I get your information and I'll call you back after I go see them next week?
Oh, where are they at?
They're at my grandpa's house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's just stealing all them from her grandfather and then selling them online before he passes.
That is not true. It is a request from him to do it.
I don't think so. I think she's being malicious with this. You don't want to be part of this.
What's your name and number?
Okay. Is my last name.
That's your last name?
It's yeah. Yeah.
You have a first name?
Okay, and it's Cecilia.
Cecilia.
It is 423. Yeah, 423.
All right, give me like a week and I'll get back to you on that. All right, I'll even text you some pictures.
Oh, okay. And what is it made out of? Did you say?
I think they're all honestly copper. All of those ones are copper or silver.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, bye.
Okay, yep. Okay, bye-bye. Bye.
Did I just make a deal?
So the most interesting part of this conversation is that as Kat puts this out in front of, hundreds of thousands of people, and she finally gets a fish on the line, she could not stop herself from eating during this conversation. If you notice, listen.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, bye.
Okay, yep.
You can hear the crunching of what were you eating?
A pretzel.
So this woman she calls the radio station, probably never called the radio station before in her life, has a mild interest in a copper 6-inch Eiffel Tower.
I didn't know we were going to air it back. I thought it was a
all her information, and Kat's just like, I gotta eat.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, bye.
Okay, yep.
Crunch.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye.
Did I just make a deal? Oh my God, what if she buys all of the Eiffel Towers?
And you thought our lives weren't fascinating?